With news and attention starting to shift over to Duskmorn, we do have to pop back in time for a moment and talk about what's happening with Bloomburrow, because it's starting to creep. A little bit of time on the market, and prices start to sort themselves out, and it's something to pay attention to. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here, and thank you again for hanging out with me on my channel for another video. When we're talking about new products coming up like Duskmorn, we have a little bit of hype starting to build. They've started dropping the stories and building the railroad track for the hype train to get ready for that product. And a lot of people are already looking that direction. Everyone speeds along nowadays. But when we had a product like Bloomburrow come out to much hype and fanfare, there was a massive outpouring of money that went into that product. I'm talking bigger than we've seen in a very long time. That means tons of singles got opened and dumped into the open market, and prices, well, they weren't sorted yet. Players hadn't had a time to experiment with the cards and really feel how these things were going to go. And there was clear evidence of that several times with cards like Scavenger's Talent, Innkeeper's Talent, Caretaker's Talent. Those talent level up cards, just like the creature level up cards of the old days, well, these have a little bit more value than people realized. Prices started to shift, and we had a tale of the take. We weren't sure where things were going to go. Now we do, and those are the cards people are paying attention to. But there is a lot more going on with this product than people realize. Everyone thinks of these cute, fuzzy critter animals, not very powerful, fun to play in standard, great to build decks with, but not really going anywhere. Or are they? Because with that attention turned toward Duskmorn, with the glut that was on the market starting to dry up, we are seeing a hardening of prices. If you go right now to MTG stocks and you start checking things out, you can take a look at the rares and the mythics. Now, I could have drawn up all kinds of spreadsheets and stuff, but today's conversation doesn't really require that. So I'll just give you the really quick synopsis. If you look at the rares, they are very reminiscent of what we saw happen in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. Things like the Three Tree City is kind of following along like Boziju. And we've got these middle grade, kind of lower end cards, kind of like the Innkeeper's Talent that are, that everyone thought they were kind of okay. And they're all kind of at $20, $25 mark, which reminds you of like Otawara, the Soaring City. These types of pricing volumes of these cards has come up and kind of taken that place of the land mana base that we saw in Kamigawa. Now, if you took a look at the mythics inside of Bloomburrow there's like a dozen or so that are like $10, $12 now. And also because of the different versions of the cards, there's higher price ones, but I'm leaving those out of the conversation because you may or may not get those. But the basic mythics in the set, just the regular versions, there's a whole bunch at that $10 to $15 mark. And even cards like Season of Loss, which dip down to like $3, are back up to like $6, $7, $8, which lets you know that there is some playability factor to these cards, that at least enough that players are purchasing the card at the lower price, and it's slowly upticking, and that means that the value inside these boxes, the EV of the value of the box, is starting to creep up a lot more than I would have thought possible this quick after release. Now, this doesn't mean this box is going to be some wonderkind of a box that's worth tons and tons of money, and everyone should go back out and start buying these boxes. Because that's actually not going to happen, by the way. I know it's kind of a fun thing to think about. Most players never go back and buy older product unless it's on sale. The history, the stats, they show us this clearly when you look at month-over-month sales on products that were on sale versus not on sale. And I'm looking at those premium products from Wizards of the Coast, like Modern Horizons 3, Commander Masters and stuff. That stuff doesn't move, guys. Double Masters, Triple Flip Trip Masters. Nope. It sits there on a shelf unless it's getting discounted and sold out. People don't want to pay the money when they know the reprints are coming. But for something new, like Bloomburrow, it probably will get a discount at some point, but when we're looking at the individual cards in the set and that uptick, the upsurge of the pricing, and it doesn't have to be big on one particular card, it brings a whole array of cards up by 5%, 10%. You see 6%, 12%, 15%. Those all add up to dollars and cents on an individual box, bringing the overall EV up, which means if you crack a box, you might be surprised by how much value you get. But again, any value you get, if you're trying to sell it, if you're one of those people who wants to sell the box off, you're getting 50% of the value. But on paper, the value you're opening now by what players have paid for the cards is surprisingly high. I was really kind of like wowed by how many cards kind of shifted up a little bit, at least enough, like the white Breeza, the little creature forest thing, like all those cards have kind of gone up enough that you're like, that's $15, that's $12, that's $10. 3-Tree City is like $23. Well, so is Innkeeper's Talent. And then the Scavenger's Talent, like $7. And you can see all these values rising. And this does not happen with every product that's sealed. And I really would have anticipated a slower growth on these individual cards because there were so many opened. But it looks like the market has absorbed them. They have been eaten up, either by speculation or by players who want to play with the cards, want to build with these decks, and that's why these particular cards are going up more than others, because they're the playable cards. And when you give players a chance to actually go on things like MTG Arena and try these cards out, go to the local store, buy a few cards, buy a few packs, try a few trial deck ideas out, and they see that there's some synergy there that they didn't see the first time, well, that gives you a whole kind of like brainstorm of like things you can do with the cards, and then you go back and start buying them. And when you're buying them cheap, which a lot of people did for those cards like Season of the Lost, some of these cards were a couple of bucks for that whole week and a half, that allowed players to buy these cards really cheap, and start building with their decks. And then when their decks start to win, what happens? Other people decide to buy those cards. If it gets mentioned by a content creator a week later, you start seeing it go along. Just like I'm talking to you now. Some of these cards are still cheaper. Sure, you have to look for yourself for the particular cards you're after, but other cards here are very expensive. So when people ask me if we're going to see a bottoming of some of these cards like 3-Tree City, all the Innkeepers and all those Innkeeper cards, 3-Tree City, they may fall a couple of bucks more if more boxes come to market. But if any of these things start winning major events, if you see a lot of synergy and commander play, these cards are actually going to go higher. They're going to start surging upward. The good news is, with things like 3-Tree City, there's multiple versions of the card found versus a collector box, regular boxes, right? So there's a lot of versions out there. Some of those worth a lot more money. So that means with the abundance of all types coming out, it kind of helps keep the pricing at least kind of leveled off. If we only had one version of 3-Tree City and there was only one found, that would have been a very expensive card. It would have been going up a lot more in value than you would have thought it would. And that's because you're only getting one or two in a box at most in a collector box versus a regular one inside of a play booster box. Guys, this is stuff that I think players kind of fail to recognize when they see the new boxes coming along, when they see Duskmorn, or they see, hey, we got Marvel coming up, man, Marvel! And then you go, I got Final Fantasy, bro! Look at the secret layers! Look at the D&D 50th anniversary stuff! It is insane to think about all these things coming along, okay? And a lot of things draw our attention. We're like a cat looking at something shiny. Whoa, what's that? Oh, what's that? You know, it's unavoidable. But for a lot of people, speculators included, who can take the time and differentiate the value of the cards I want versus the ones that I think other players are going to want and use, that's where players can buy cards cheap and upsell them later. I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm saying if there's any cards you want in Bloomburrow, you should probably check these things out. Make sure the card you want is at a fair market value and it's a card you might want to start buying before things get crazy. Because if any of these cards really shoot up in the next 30 days, it may be a bit of a feeding frenzy. I don't want to say that's going to be, because I don't know if the cards go too high, you will see people cracking boxes. It would just be a certain level of card value found that people would start taking the risk again. And I know some places in the US sell the boxes a lot cheaper, so they'll be opened more there. They'll hit markets like TCG Player. So it's kind of that wait and see phenomenon where you're just like, I don't know. But all I can do is tell you guys what I see in the spreadsheets and what I see with individual card sales, with prices kind of leveling off, but card sales continuing to stay strong, and knowing that box sales are down across the board. No new product coming into play, which means some of these prices are not likely to fall the way players hope they would, and we'll have to wait and see for other cards in the set if they can really hold up under play when you're using them in Modern or other formats like Standard, Pioneer, Pauper, etc. Okay? Let me know what you guys think. What do you see? What do you know? Put some comments down in the comment section, and I look forward to reading them, of course. And don't forget, tomorrow is a top 10 video, and we get to see how well Bloomburrow is holding on to the top spots, because the last 2 weeks, Bloomburrow has been like the champion. I think we had one card outside of Bloomburrow make my top 10 for sales. So tomorrow, tune in 11:15 Eastern Standard Time, and we'll go over the numbers together and see what your top 10 card is going to be this week. Thanks again for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by my channel, and I will see you guys all tomorrow with another video. Hey guys, what can I say? A big shout out, an extremely huge thank you to all the fantastic patrons I have on my channel supporting each and every day. Because of those patrons' daily uploaded content, of course, it's made possible. I put it out every day, and it's because of my patrons, my YouTube membership members, and the viewers of this channel. Guys, all those thumbs up on the videos help everyone watching the videos to the end. Thanks again! Okay. Welcome to the Ramble Jamble. You're at the end of the video. I have something very serious that I want to talk to you guys about, and it has to be happening here, at this section of the video. So if you made it here, serious talk. Strap in. Get ready. I've been on YouTube for years. And what I'm about to talk about kind of hurts my feelings. It's funny, but it hurts my feelings. My feelings aren't normally hurt. They're not an easy thing to do. But in this case, I do have to mention it. Out of the 2,000 plus videos I have created here on the channel in my years on YouTube, 2,000 plus videos, I found a One Ring here live for 401 Games. When they gave me box, we found that ring live on the channel during a box opening video. And my YouTube short of Bog Rats is not only my most liked video, 1,500 likes, but it also is closing in on being my most watched video clip ever. It's hilarious, but it hurts my feelings. I put a lot of effort into those videos, man. I know we're here at the end. It's okay, I can share that with you. Now go, enjoy the day, be free, Monfugio!